This is Austin Theory, and you're listening to the Baby Faces podcast only on iHeartRadio.
This is WWE superstar Grayson Waller, and you are listening to the Baby Faces on iHeartRadio.
What's going on, y'all? It's WWE superstar Kofi Kingston, and you're listening to the Baby Faces on iHeartRadio, baby!
You guys hear that music? You know what time it is. We are back. It's the Baby Faces on iHeartRadio, exclusively on 97.5 WAMZ, Kentuckiana's #1 for country. I am Austin on air. You can catch me on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm with my co-host, Billy. You see him right there. Billy, how we doing today, man?
Doing good, and we're about to get Tiffy time on the podcast today. Smackdown's coming to the Yum Center next week, and one of the brightest young superstars on Smackdown joining us on the show. Tiffany Stratton, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Smackdown coming to the Yum Center, the draft just happened. There's a lot of new blood on each brand. What can fans expect when they come out to the Yum Center to see y'all next Friday on June 7th?
We have so many different superstars. We've got Naomi, we've got Jade Cargill, we've got Nia Jax. There's so many different things and people that you can look forward to. We've got some great, stories going on. I feel like there is something for everyone.
Yeah, and we talk about the Smackdown pre-draft. That's where you ended up landing. You made a big splash coming to the WWE main roster last year, and you've gotten such a good ovation from here, our crowds, and especially overseas. I know you can recall the Perth, Australia crowd for Elimination Chamber was absolutely hot for Tiffy time. Since then, you guys have been to France and just recently in Saudi Arabia. So can you tell everybody what it was like the last weekend in Saudi? It looked like everybody had a good time. What was the Queen of the Ring like from your perspective?
The Queen of the Ring, obviously, it was such a good tournament, and you guys, we had so many different matchups that I feel like, were PLE worthy. And we had, Lyra versus EO. They went almost, I think, 20 minutes, which was the longest match of the entire tournament. And I just feel like we have so many competitive girls right now. And, watching the Queen of the Ring, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the final, but I am very happy for Nia Jax, as you guys have seen on TikTok, on Instagram. She's my little bestie right now. So I'm very happy for her.
Yeah, and Austin mentioned the Elimination Chamber and the Perth, Australia crowd, and I feel like that was really your coming out party almost on the main roster. I remember seeing tweets just like, Tiffany Stratton is that girl, like she's out there wrestling like the rent was due. Talk about Elimination Chamber from your perspective and how you felt you did in that match specifically.
Yeah, so Australia was definitely like a dream. I was not expecting any of that. I wasn't expecting the crowd to even really know who I was, because we're across the world in a completely different country. So I had no idea. It was all unexpected, and I kind of just rolled with the punches and stuff. And yeah, it was life-changing. I felt like I was really put on the map because of Australia, and I definitely owe Australia everything right now, I feel like. So yeah, I just feel like it was definitely a very transformative PLE for me.
Yeah, and one of the things since breaking out on the roster, I feel like you've been able to kind of separate yourself from other people that's debuted. You already have the athletic ability that shines, and one of the things that me and Billy always point out, it's the airport test. You could see you at an airport and think that girl's a wrestler, that girl's an athlete, and you have a very athletic background. Team USA, gymnastics, trampolining, and it seems like such a seamless transition to the WWE and professional wrestling. If you can explain kind of what that transition is like, because I know from the athletic aspect, but you also have to put in time and to develop a character, which you've done. You've worked under Greg Gagne and future friend of the show, Ken Anderson, formerly known as Mr. Kennedy. So what's it like kind of developing that over into the world of pro wrestling, and also meanwhile trying to develop and maintain a character?
Yeah, so I would definitely say the wrestling part kind of came more easy for me, just because of my athletic background. I felt like, being a gymnast, you really have a leg up on everybody because you have such good body control. And I just feel like, the rolling and stuff like that, it all kind of correlates together. So like the wrestling part was definitely very like the more easier part for me. And then the character part, I didn't really know like who or what I really wanted to be in the ring. It was kind of around NXT 2.0 where they were like, okay, get a character and then we'll debut on TV if your wrestling is good enough. And my problem wasn't really the wrestling, it was the character. And immediately I kind of was just like, you know what, let's go with like a really girly girl character, something that kind of emulates who I am in my everyday life. And it kind of started off very like Disney Channel, very corny, very cheesy. And it kind of has slowly transformed into who I am in my everyday life, but just turned up a couple notches. So
It,
yeah, go
That's
ahead.
funny you say that because we've had Al Snow on a few times on the show, and obviously he's big into training at OVW and all that, based here in Louisville. And he's always said that basically your character is who you are. You just take it and turn it up to 11, right? So you can definitely see that it definitely comes across the screen like that for
Yeah.
you. Another thing that always amazes me is not only keeping up with your character and the wrestling aspect, but just keeping your body in shape when you guys are on the road all the time. So, what is that like? How do you keep that diet in line and how do you get your workouts in when you're on the road so much?
That's also something that is very hard, and I'm also still trying to, figure out. But I've slowly kind of, been more consistent with my diet on the road, like choosing healthier options or getting like even just a 30-minute workout in the hotel gym, because you don't want to exhaust yourself if you have to wrestle that night. Because wrestling in itself is like you wake up the next morning and you are completely just drained and you're hurting. So I think not over pushing yourself is the best bet for you.
You know what? It's amazing that you say that because you probably have to go to like a Planet Fitness or some sort of 24-hour thing just because, not a lot of gyms are really open to you. Are you constantly getting stopped at gyms when you're working out? Are people like noticing you, or do people just nowadays kind of have a little bit respect and leave you alone?
I would say that it's slowly been, I've slowly had more people come up to me at the gym and stuff, but I wouldn't say it's anything crazy right now. Just because I feel like I am so new, but slowly it's been kind of like, are you Tiffany Stratton? And I'm like, yeah. Like, oh, cool.
Well, that's going to be a pretty cool feeling, right? Getting recognized, even though you're in the middle of workout, probably, a little bit locked in, but that's the name of the game, right? That's
Yeah.
why you do what you do.
Mhm.
So back to your character, you're talking about the girly girl aspect of it. Obviously your catchphrase is Tiffy time, which is just like blown up t-shirts, merch, all that,
That's
signs.
right.
How did you come up with the Tiffy time tagline?
I don't really even know. I think it was just something that I said one time in NXT, and it never really took off in NXT. I always tried to find words that like started with a T, like Tiffy time, Tiffy title, Tiffy Tuesday, like stuff like that. And I guess like Australia really loved that, and then kind of just took that and ran with it. And I felt like it never was really a huge thing of my character in NXT, but now on Smackdown, it's like my entire like that's what they chant when they see me now. So, yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
Do when you move up to the main roster, like I understand that especially under probably the newer regime and how things are backstage, do they plan out what they really want to do with your character? Or are they asking like, "Hey, we want to change this because we want to change this"? I just had a Tiffany epiphany myself because here's a mark question I had to ask. I absolutely loved your presentation. I still do, but I loved your old theme song too. There's something about the Tiffy Time theme song that I just absolutely loved. You got on record and say that you've been a part of changing that. So, what can you explain that things that you did have a hand in when moving to the main roster? Maybe you wanted to keep something from NXT, or just try to get some more things on.
Yeah, so I would say basically everything has kind of stayed the same. Nobody has really told me like, "Oh, we want to change this, we want to change that." It's kind of been the same as NXT. I remember I did say in NXT that I wanted to come off more serious, and not so like hokey and comedy. I don't want to go down the comedy route, but I would say that I've definitely tried to be more serious. And then also, I did want a new theme song just because I felt like my theme song, it wasn't really like, I don't know. It just never really had that, like, oh, that's a cool theme song. I do love, I like my theme song now, and I really like it because of the Tiffy time in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. It gave you aura, as the kids are now saying. There's something about that there's something about that superhero Barbie thing that I think that just fit perfect with that old theme song. But I don't think it's ruined your presentation at all. Like I said, it's probably even made you become more of a star.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. Just a couple more minutes here with you, Tiffany. We appreciate you taking the time again.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to ask you. I feel like there's so much talent on the women's roster nowadays, and you mentioned a couple of them at the top of the show. But who are some of those women? You just moved up to the main roster. You haven't got to mix it up with them possibly yet. Maybe they're on Raw. What are some of your dream matches now that you're on the main roster here?
Some of my dream matches. Oof. Let me think. I would love to have a match against Charlotte Flair when she comes back.
That's got money written all over it. I can see
Yeah.
that
I'd love
now.
to see it.
I would love to have a rematch against me and Bianca. I think Bianca is amazing in the ring. Unfortunately, I didn't get her this time, but I think a rematch is definitely in my future. And I'd love to wrestle Jade. Obviously, she's kind of like the blueprint of, what a WWE superstar is. She's beautiful. She's strong. I feel like we would match up very well in the ring.
Absolutely. And Jade, Bianca, both been on the show, both promoting it. We have WWE Smackdown coming to the KFC Yum Center next week. What we like to do when we ask everyone before we go ahead and get them off, what can fans expect when they come out to the Yum Center? Maybe it's their first time coming to the show. They're bringing the kids. You're going to see your favorite superstars like Austin Theory, Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton. What can the fans in Louisville expect when you guys are here next week?
Well, obviously, you can expect some Tiffy time. We've
Yeah.
got different superstars. We have Nia Jax. We've got Bianca Belair. There's something for everybody. So if you come, I guarantee you'll have a great time.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Tiffany, once again, thank you so much. You guys can go check out WWE Smackdown. It's coming back to Louisville, Kentucky next Friday, so you don't want to miss that. It's going to be really, really cool. And I already sent a list over to some of the people that you work with for some good places to eat, both healthy and unhealthy. So you can always go and parcel that out as you may. Tiffany, thank you so much again for coming on. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, guys.